when you're saying it's not easy to feel when you don't know that it's real, or you keep it in your shame, or this is not what I asked for. These are all things that come up to your head when you're like doing something that is different than others and makes you feel like blame in a way that no, there's no way that this is what it is.
From walls, I'm stuck between.
So welcome, this is my behind the lyrics video. So basically I'm just going to walk you through the song and the meaning behind the lines in the song. Four Walls is the most vulnerable song that I've written so far. Like literally every line there is something that I had to think about so much just to get to that line at the end. And yeah, I feel like I want to walk you through this journey. For the longest time I've been feeling empty inside, but when I finally found what makes me happy, people try to change my mind. There's a reason why these are the first two lines of the song. I feel like the whole thing that started my music career and everything was the fact that I always felt like I'm living a life that are just fake, like not living the way that I wanted to. And it made me feel empty for so long. And when I just started pursuing music, there were a lot of people who had things to say about it. So because I started like around 21, people are less patient to see someone grow into something that is so unstable like art and making that a career. And music was always my passion. I always loved music very deeply. I was like an obsessed, like when I was in high school, I was obsessed with MTV and everything. And I feel like music really helped me along the way, and that was kind of the main reason that prompted me into creating music, that I wanted to be that person who also can connect to others through experience that I personally went through and others might relate to. And I really believe in that. So I work night and day, I've got to pay for starting out so freaking late. No time for friends, no time for games. I've got to prove I'm here to stay. With all the doubts, I get no grace. Not allowed to make mistakes, cause if I make one, I hear somebody say. So all of this fast-paced verse is kind of, I made it on purpose that way because this is what I felt all the time, okay? I always felt like I'm in this pace. You need to work hard on perfecting your work. You need to train and practice and make yourself better in singing. I need to show that I'm working hard, that it's important to me, that people will not think that it's something that is just like, I don't know, a phase for me or a trend or I don't know what. That I needed to, there were a lot of things that I was trying to prove. I was working all day and then I went back home and I practiced. That was my schedule for like a year and a half. And then when I moved to the States, it just became more hectic because I just had multiple jobs. I felt like there's so much expectation from people to kind of see, okay, he's working so hard on that. And that was literally what I was doing. This is why I was so stressed about like when I released Holiday for Sale. I really wanted it to be like that banger, that thing that kind of washes away all of the voices that I have from critics or from people who doubt my decision to pursue music. Everything's gonna be alright, everything's gonna be okay, as long as you find a real job and it's just a phase in. These moments, I know there's no one to trust if I fall. I have a long distant relative who lives in the state, also in LA. And I wanted to talk to him because he works in the industry. And I wanted to know if he has any tips before I'm moving to LA, like where to start, where to meet people, all that stuff. And instead of answering this simple question, he gave me a 15 minutes lecture, I counted, of why I should leave that dream aside and go and study something for a few years, and then when I'm like, I don't know, 27, 26, move to the States and take my shot, you know? Which might sound smart, but it's also very stupid. Because why would I want to invest so much of my time in something that I don't want to make a career of when I can invest that time in developing myself into something that I'm passionate about. So I was obviously furious because I never asked for his opinion. At the end, he did give like, I don't know, 1 minute of like telling me, yeah, this place and that place, I heard of that. And I don't even remember these places because I was so upset from that call. Back then, I really had a lot of distrust and I needed like to be in this safe space. I just need the support, you know, without any doubts and not hearing any other directions that being thrown at me. So that was that. And I never spoke to that person ever again since then. Is this how you wanna live forever? Where everything you've ever wanted is bottled inside, and you keep feeding yourself fear and pressure. Not much to lose when you keep it behind four walls, four walls. I'm stuck between four walls, oh, oh. How hard can it be to erase parts of me? The chorus is actually the question that I asked myself so many times. I didn't want to live in a life that felt fake to me. That's basically what this whole song is about, right? I was eating myself up just from like what will other people say, and everything that I'm doing might be wrong, and I don't know what. I've known for a very long time that I want to do something that is creative, but I didn't have the confidence to do that for many reasons. And when I turned 21, I gained that confidence. And this is when I started to really live the life that I've always wished I would have lived before. This is actually what I want to do. And that I have like an inner voice that I can put out there in writing that others might connect to. And this is all I wish for with my music. Now I know me and love aren't synonymous at all, and I know I can find it in my comfort zone. But when finally someone makes my heart lose control, my head says no, that's not what I asked for. Everything's gonna be alright, everything's gonna be okay, as long as it's just a thought and you keep it in your shame. It's not easy to feel when you don't want to know that it's real. So I feel like the second verse is pretty obvious, but I'll just say it anyway. So in the middle of 2025, I came out of the closet, and I felt like this was something that I really was keeping to myself for a very long time. Like I wasn't sure if that's the case. And this is where all of these lines came from, because when you're saying it's not easy to feel when you don't know that it's real, or you keep it in your shame, or this is not what I asked for. These are all things that come up to your head when you're like doing something that is different than others and makes you feel like blame in a way that no, there's no way that this is what it is. When I realized that, it took me a long time of like, maybe it's a phase, maybe it's something that will, I don't know, fade away at some point. And I feel like the best decision I've ever made was just realizing that this is part of me, this is what I love, I can't change that. I don't want to be a person in his 60s or 70s or something and kind of realize that then that I should have done that. Like I feel like so many people are living in that closet or four walls and just can't make that step to live in the way that they wanted, to kind of admit that they're attracted to something else. And I'm glad I did. I really want that, to find a partner and this vulnerability and like, you know, to grow and have some kind of a relationship with someone that I'm attracted to. Don't want to stay locked in, to be pulled back by strings. Don't want to wake up when I'm 80 to finally see that I will never be others' priority. So why do I place what they say first? Let me go. I feel like this is like the bridge is like the climax of, okay, These are all the emotions just bursting out. I don't want to feel like I'm locked in, like someone is controlling me. I don't want to wake up when I'm 80 and then look back and be like, oh, that's my biggest nightmare. Wake up when I'm 80 and be like, oh, I should have done that. Because there's so many people, I feel like, that experience that they should have done something when they were younger. I'm so grateful that I got to this realization right now. And I hope that other people, that everyone will do what they love and that makes them feel complete with themselves. And one of my favorite lines of the song is basically something that my mom is always telling me, and that's never placing someone first if they put you second. I'm really used to appease other people, and I really felt like I'm putting other people first before me. And this is why when I decided to do music, a lot of things changed, my environment changed. I became, I guess, more selfish in a way, but I was like, why wouldn't I do that? Because this is what I want to do in my life. This is my life, this is my trajectory, this is how I want to grow. And eventually in 10 years, I will look back and I'll be like, everyone now are like with babies or whatnot, or like have their own families or careers. Why didn't I do that back then when I could? So I'm super glad that I got to this realization, and I really wanted to put that in the song. This isn't how I wanna live forever, but the walls keep talking to me all the time, and they won't let me out until I'm perfect. Did all I could, but I can't leave them behind. For walls, my walls, I'm stuck between my walls. Oh, 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 how hard can it be to love all parts of me? All these walls, these are not like something that is separate from me. I can't blame something or someone else for all these fears and stress that I've had, because I developed them myself. These are my personal mental walls that stop me from doing stuff. And I feel like I know at this point what I need to do, how I want to live, that I have so many things that I still want to explore and know about myself, but there are still things that I need to work on and overcome along the way. So it takes time, and a big part of it is also the fact that, and this is how the song ends, how hard can it be to love all parts of me? And that I feel like no one really can love every single part of them. I feel like there are some people who might say they do, but sometimes like you don't, and that's natural. And I think part of really loving yourself is accepting the fact that you're an imperfect human being. And this is like the hardest thing for me to do, because I like to be perfectionist in so many things. But I feel like once you understand that not everything you do is perfect, this is when you start to learn also your imperfect parts. And these are things that I'm always working on. Like even though I wrote this song and I'm kind of like am aware of them and everything, I still have them every day. And I know that it's all just part of the process where you're just like, you can't really see your own growth. So you can't really feel like you're making a step forward. But every day that I'm showing up and keep on pushing and working on my music, I'm making this progress. And I need to remind this to myself all the time. And I feel like a lot of people can't see that, especially if you're like in music or something artistic, because you don't really get graded and there's so much feedback, and it's very hard to know when you're doing something right. It's really a matter of a lot of mental work. And that's it. So thank you so much for sticking around and listening to the whole breakdown of Four Walls. I bet that there are many more to come for other songs, but I'm so glad that you felt like you wanted to hear the messages behind the song, and I hope that you connected to them. And I want to hear from you, like if there was like a part specifically that you felt like you were connected to the song, I would love to hear it, like whether if it's like privately or just in the comments, whatever you feel comfortable with. So thank you for your time and stay tuned.
Is this how you wanna live forever? where everything you've ever wanted is bottled inside, and you keep feeding yourself fear.